it's hard to imagine, and this is going to sound so corny and cheesy, but it's truly hard to imagine doing all this just by yourself, after we've been able to do it with each other. And there's always, I mean, even in phone calls like this, it's like I've got Caleb to bounce off of and he's got me to bounce off of.
Between the Grooves is hosted by James Curtis, music director and morning man in the Greater Toronto Area on Joy Radio, and Aisha Woods, Grammy-nominated singer, songwriter, and musician. Together, they talk with artists and industry insiders to discover our connection between music and faith. You can connect with us on Facebook or X at Between Grooves and on Instagram at Between Grooves Pod. Now, here's James and Aisha.
And we're back on Between the Grooves. It's James Curtis along with
Aisha Woods. What's happening, my friend? How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. I mean, I guess I could, but
why bother?
I choose not to.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, looking forward to Christmas. We've got our Christmas episode coming in a couple of weeks, so that's something to look forward to as well.
Yes, it is.
But still a couple of episodes before we get there, and this week, this is a conversation I've been looking forward to. We've talked a lot about collaborations in the past. It's something that a lot of artists have been doing, and this is even pre-COVID where they were starting to do this, and I think it's a great idea. It's especially good for artists that are teaming up with a seasoned person that's been in the industry and they're trying to get a little bit of exposure and whatnot. I've seen that happen. But usually it's just a temporary thing, like a one-shot deal, or maybe, singing backup on a couple of tracks on an album or whatever. But today we get to chat with a duo who teamed up, and that's them. That's the group. That's that's who they are now. They're not solo artists anymore. They've teamed up and they've joined forces, and they're going pretty strong already.
That's wonderful. You think of the chemistry that happens when you collaborate with another artist when you're writing, but it's next level if you end up evolving and becoming a group.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exciting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we are going next level for this episode, chatting with Caleb and John on Between the Grooves.
Oh, I know that song.
Hey,
guys, aren't you?
I never do stuff like that, but
but aren't you guys sick and tired of hearing that song though?
No, not at all, man. It's just a blessing just to see what God's done with it.
You know what?
Yeah, no doubt.
You know what kind of blows me away about you guys, if you don't mind me saying, is I understand you guys didn't know each other all your lives. And you kind of come from different backgrounds, different styles of music. So how did you guys meet? Like, what happened?
Yeah. So really, basically, it was a mutual friend. When John and I met, we were both, I should say before John and I met, we were just trying to do some solo artist stuff just as individual artists. And two, we were playing as backup musicians in bands for other artists.
Wow.
So I had a friend say to me one time, like, hey, I think I know you're doing your own thing and kind of, doing a couple different things in music, but I think you should meet my friend John. I think you guys might work well together. And so we all kind of met up and hung out, and we went back and looked when it was, and it was on April 15th of last year. So tax day of last year.
You actually remember the day. That's wild.
We celebrated our 1-year duoversary this April.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So,
a lot has happened in a year. Ooh.
Oh, my gosh. It's been unbelievable. And we hit it off. And we're like, all right, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did you kind of think in advance maybe we could, get together and collaborate together? Or was it more of a you're busy with your stuff, I'm busy with my stuff, and just kind of a friendship to start?
I think, actually, yeah.
You tell me.
Caleb and I were talking about this the other day, and it was kind of like God was preparing us, like preparing our hearts, I think. I know Caleb had a few people kind of like mention the idea to him, like, what'd you say, Caleb? Was it like a few months, like 6 months before?
Yeah, about I would say it was about 6 months before I met John. I was just kind of talking, with a mentor that I was connected with, and just talking about, kind of my solo artist stuff. And he was like, you know what? I think, definitely keep doing your solo artist stuff if you want, but I think that you might actually be really good in a duo if you found the right partner. And so
really cool.
I was like, well, I don't know if I'd ever want to do that, but I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
And I mean, 3 months, I think it was like 3 months before Caleb and I met, or maybe it was 2 or 3 months before. I had a guy that he was like, a duo would be really good. Would you be interested in that? And I was like, I don't know. It'd have to be the right guy.
Mm-hmm. Are y'all the same age or there's a difference?
We like to say that we're brothers in Christ, and I'm the older brother.
Okay.
And I am 5 years older than John. I'm 28. John's 23. But hey, you know what? It's a great older brother, younger brother dynamic.
Oh
sure.
yeah, I give Caleb grief. So we're both from the north, and we moved down to Tennessee. I moved down to Tennessee for middle school, and Caleb moved down for college, but it wasn't at the same time.
Jeez. And wait, you said from the north, but you weren't specific. Where at in the north?
Yeah, so I'm from upstate New York, so Rochester.
Okay.
It's kind of outside of Buffalo.
All right.
Yep, and I'm from Rhode Island.
No kidding. Yeah, you guys came from like same area almost.
Pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Neighbors, yeah. So on that whole brother vein, I suppose you guys are older now, so you're, I'll assume more mature. But when I was growing up with my brothers, I didn't really get along with them. Like we'd fight, we'd have arguments,
Oh man,
That's fair. I know for me, I actually have two special needs brothers. My older brother has autism, and my younger brother has a rare condition called lens microphthalmia syndrome. So it was definitely a unique upbringing for me. But I was grateful from what the Lord taught me through it and shaped me into the man I am. But John has no brothers and 5 sisters.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So he probably welcomed, John, you welcomed a brother, right?
Oh, with open arms.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think I'm still just grateful that this is a thing right now.
Yes,
I think I really. It's weird, growing up, kind of like what you were saying. Growing up, you butt heads a lot, but now I feel like I'm just good friends with all my sisters, and now that I have Caleb, it's like we're both mature. So, I mean, Caleb and I. We haven't gotten into like a fight or anything. Like I think we kind of set the standard in the beginning that if we had a difference, we would just, especially, musically, if Caleb is a little bit more on the pop side of things, I'm a little more on the rootsy side of things. And so, if there's ever a disagreement, we always just try both, and whichever one works, and whichever one doesn't. And, I think we're very open and, yeah, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Well, I was just going to say that, because really what we're after is the best music, And so if we're like, well, I think this would be better. Oh, no, well, I think this would be better. Well, let's try it both ways. And 9 times out of 10, after we try it both ways, we'll realize which is the best way. And it's always my way. I'm kidding.
It's always my way. Let's qualify that. There you go. You mentioned about the long lost brother or finding a brother. My wife has she's an only girl in her family. She's got 7 brothers.
Oh my God.
They're all older than her. Which put a lot of pressure on me when we were going out because,
I'm sure
they're watching out for little sister and stuff.
Yep.
But she always wanted that sister. And so I didn't know this until years later, but she's originally from Guyana and she's got a stepsister in Guyana. So a few years back, she reconnected with her stepsister because she really didn't grow up with this stepsister at all, but she's reconnected with her. And it's for her, it's her long lost sister, right? It's now, hey, I got a sister now. She's so excited.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. She's from, is Guyana in Africa?
No, that's South America. Like the northern part there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
We're talking about travel. You guys, have you guys done any international travel yet since you've been a duo?
Well, we've not done any international shows yet, but I will say, so in the artists that I play for, one of them was slash is Sam Hunt, the country artist. So I was actually just in Toronto for the Canadian Country Music Awards just a few weeks ago here.
So you were just in Toronto and you never bothered to drop in and say hello. Seriously.
I'm so sorry. We hadn't met. We hadn't met yet. Now, I won't make that mistake again. I
next time, come in a day or two early or stay a day or two later, and I'll take you around and show you the sights, or we'll go to Niagara Falls or whatever,
Please, that'd be amazing. On.
Yeah, both of you come. You guys do a show here in Canada, and yeah.
And have your wife make some Guyanese food.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Then I'm there.
Now we're talking. Now, so you guys haven't traveled internationally together. What about, I guess, with summer festivals going on and stuff, did you guys get a good experience this past summer?
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So internationally, I think, so that being said, I'm working on getting my passport renewed right now because we're about to head out. But yeah, no, I think this summer, Caleb, weren't you were touring with Sam this summer?
Yeah, so really, John and I's main focus was really going around and visiting radio stations and kind of just making those connections with new radio friends this year. So we did a lot of that in the spring and a little bit of that in the summer. But I was actually on tour with Sam Hunt in the summer while our single was going to radio. So I was traveling all around, but it was with a different artist. And so John and I did a few things. But we kind of made that decision to not do a bunch of touring this summer, just to kind of see how the single does, and just see if the song's going to impact, and just by the grace of God it has. So we're gonna be doing a lot more shows moving forward here.
Do you have some shows booked?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And who are you touring with?
Well, unfortunately, we can't give too much away, but we're gonna be on a spring tour with an incredible artist, opening up for an incredible artist, and then we're gonna be playing a good bit of shows, in festivals and things like that this summer.
Okay, so you can't tell us who the artist is. I understand, not yet, but I mean, it's just between you and us. Like, who would find out that you? Who would know that you told us, right?
Really,
Jay? So there have been a few times where people have asked us this, and I have just about said it every single time. And so this time I'm going to be the guy, because Caleb has been so good at being our PR guy. I'm going to go ahead and just put the gag order on Caleb and I right now.
Right. So what would be the repercussions if you did say? Like, do you guys have a confidentiality clause or something at this point?
Oh, we get fired.
No, but we get fired from our band.
Oh, but you are the band.
Generally, we're not. You're not supposed to say.
I know. I'm just trying to pull as much as I can. Is the artist male or female?
That is so funny.
I don't want to assume their gender. I'm kidding.
Just trying everything I can here. So, Hallelujah Feeling has just taken off. Did you guys
Great
ever
song,
imagine?
guys.
Yeah, it's an amazing song. Did you guys ever imagine? I mean, who would ever have heard of a new duo coming together and immediately having a song that hits the charts? Like, normally it takes a few years for people to get used to the duo, to getting used to your music, let alone it hitting the charts and being people listening, streaming, being played on the radio and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, I know for me personally, I don't think it's hit me yet because, I mean, I think, so Caleb talked about, we met on tax day last year, and then from that point, I feel like God just flung open doors. And it's really undeniable, just watching how everything has unfolded, because we met, went to the studio. We were like, okay, we can make this work. Let's be a duo. And then 2 months, I think it was about 2 months later, got a record deal, which doesn't happen. And then about 3 months after that, we had a few songs, one of them being Hallelujah Feeling, that we were like, okay, we feel good about putting these out. which again, I mean, if you're in the, I guess, I don't know if music world is the right term, but if you know about artists getting signed, like some artists you get signed and then it takes years to, just write and find the right songs. But
and sometimes the label will hold you back as well, because they'll want you to write. They'll want you to get used to this new lifestyle, whether it be writing or recording or meeting people and opening for a few people, but not being, certainly not a headliner, and people getting used to the fact that here's this duo.
I mean, and I think. Oh, sorry. One of the things we talked with the label about was that, I mean, it's really valuable that we had a past experience as playing for other artists and touring, being in writing sessions, that sort of thing. We kind of had a history in the industry, although not as artists necessarily. And just, I mean, like John got to play for Katie Nicole all last year.
Nice.
And, has definitely toured a good bit, and I've got to play for a few other artists. And just the fact that we know what we're signing up for. We know what the music life is like, I really think that's done nothing but work in our favor, and the Lord's used that to just make us ready, and us kind of in a small sense used to everything that's been going on. So the Lord's been very faithful because of it.
So besides the touring that you've done individually, what are you guys doing like as your day job right now? Is that what it is, touring with these other artists at this point?
Yeah. So for Caleb, so I took some time. So I got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. But yeah, I wanted to be home with my wife for, I mean, at least the beginning of our marriage. So I've been at home. My buddy has a wood shop, so I've been working there for some extra change. But Caleb and I don't know, kind of like what Caleb was saying, we're going out more these days. So kind of taking a step back.
That's good, man.
Yeah, and for me, I do. I mean, I kind of do a little bit of everything. I still play with other artists from time to time, and I mean, I also do a little bit of production work for other artists and songwriters and publishers, and then I just kind of do a little bit of everything. That's kind of always been my thing, and I'm definitely looking forward to, I think this year we're going to be majorly hitting the road, and I think that just Caleb and John is just going to be that one thing, which has never really been a thing for me, and I personally am really looking forward.
You mentioned, you mentioned it's going to be a thing for you, and the main thing for you. I know a lot of artists that have been around for a while that, even though music is their passion, music is what they do for a living, they've got some side projects on the go. And I know of artists diversify, whether it be real estate or whatever. They've got this side thing. I suppose a lot of that would help if there was a pandemic or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
You guys have any thoughts as to what you might want to have on the side just to be there for you, whether you eventually retire from music or just not do it as much as you've been doing?
Yeah, I mean, well, I know for me, when the pandemic hit, so I taught piano and guitar lessons full time for 5 years, and I did that through the pandemic before I started touring and that sort of thing. And so I remember just all the time being, God, why am I not touring full time? Why am I not touring full time? And then the pandemic hit, and all my friends that were touring full time, they lost their source of income. Exactly. And they were scrambling. And so I think the Holy Spirit kind of taught me in that time where it's like, hey, I've got a purpose for you. I've got a plan for you. And I've shielded, for whatever reason, I've shielded you from this, because of the purpose that I have for your life. And so, that being said, my wife and I, we run an Airbnb together as well. And we also,
there you go.
It's funny, our side project is also music. we run a custom songwriting company where we write custom love songs for weddings called First Dance.
There you go.
So yeah, so we have a good bit of fun doing that on the side.
You know what? You're talking about on the side and your wife. I've seen some videos, right, of you guys on the road and doing your thing. I've seen a girl drummer. Please talk to me about that.
Yes. Liz Chan. is the best and the baddest female drummer in Nashville, and maybe just the best drummer just overall of any drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
She is amazing. She's got for us on the Hallelujah Feeling music video. And she has also played for Carrie Underwood and Katie Nicole and just about every artist in Christian music that you can think of. She's played for them. And she's absolutely wonderful. We're glad to have her.
So she's a drummer for hire. Will she be touring with you guys?
Hopefully. I mean, so we're at the point where we're really at the point where as openers, it kind of just has to be just us for now.
Yeah.
So, we don't know if she'd be open to it. We hope that she is, if she'd ever be willing to tour with us. But
it's either that or you're going to borrow the talent from whoever you're headlining with.
We've done that as well. We just opened up for Micah Tyler for a good number of dates, and we actually did borrow his drummer to help us out for our set.
Nice.
We chatted with Micah Tyler a few weeks back. He's a great, like a funny, happy-go-lucky guy, but he takes life seriously, but he just has. You can tell he has so much fun in what he does, and it sounds like you guys are very similar.
Yeah. Oh man, that's high praise to be compared to Micah Tyler. He's certainly the real deal.
Are you guys like you mentioned that Hallelujah Feeling was one of a few songs? Are there other songs you're going to be releasing, or is that going to be set aside for an album? What's the deal there?
Yeah, we're actually in the process. Yeah, I think so. We've actually been talking a lot about getting in and writing more, but we have we have so many songs, cataloged. Like Caleb and I were just texting yesterday, talking about a few songs that we've written that we might be, they might be in the running for getting them, officially mixed and recorded and mastered. But yeah, we definitely have a few songs that we're looking to be the next single that we're going to push. But we also are just wanting to get in and keep writing. I mean, Caleb and I have definitely talked about, like, we just want to be those guys that just write and write and write.
Yeah, there you go.
Just get the best songs we can possibly get for us. And maybe if we can write for some other people, write for some other people. I mean, like Caleb said, he's got a whole business based off of writing love songs for people's first dances. So, oh yeah.
Yep.
But once you release a single and it becomes a hit, the label's always looking for the next one. Do you guys have anything in the hopper as far as being recorded, ready to release to radio?
We do. So really, as far as what's going to be released to radio next, it will probably, I'm not saying 100%, it will probably be one of the songs that we've already released to DSPs or, Spotify, Apple Music, the store. It will probably be one of those, but we also have a couple more that we're probably going to get in the studio here and record in the next couple months. So it's a probably, but who knows what time will bring. Well,
especially if you have a spring tour in the works, because then your time gets limited too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly right.
What about a Christmas song?
We haven't really talked about a Christmas song. John, what do you think?
It was funny. That pause was like...
Here we're brainstorming right now, folks.
Right.
Oh, man. You know what? So Christmas music, I feel like, is a difficult thing for me, because I feel like if you do Christmas music, you have to do it right. And there's so many people out there that have just done it so well. So I think Caleb and I, nothing, certainly not this Christmas, but who knows? If we can find the right sound and if we can figure it out with our style.
The right sound. All you need is bells.
Take
any song. Take Hallelujah Feeling and just add bells to it and you're set.
That's right. Bells and whistles, if you will.
Oh man.
Yeah. I would love to, if we kind of have that conversation about, Christmas and we decide to do something, what I would personally want for it is to just kind of emphasize me and John's musicality, because we kind of play off each other in a really fun way as far as both being instrumentalists and, kind of, we both know our music theory, at least to a certain extent. And I think it would be really fun to just kind of just bounce off each other for a Christmas song. We'd have to find the right one for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Do you think the Caleb and John duo is? Before I ask that, Caleb and John, how come it's not John and Caleb? Just I don't want to start any fights or anything. But
I can take this. So JC was already taken by a few people, one being Jesus Christ, but also Jeremy Camp. And so we just didn't want to confuse any people who are Christians. Right. And they're like, oh, what is this JC? It's a new duo. So it was more of a natural thing. Like, we have to go Caleb and John,
Okay, yeah, I can see that. That's great. So what happens when Caleb and John are done? Like, could this be just a stepping stone for each of you to go on that solo career?
I mean, I think we really don't know what the future holds. I mean, John and I, we've talked that we're both in it for the long haul, and we want to tour together and make music together for a long time. So I mean, that's what we want to do now. But of course, life changes sometimes. And, there are those duos that, Brooks and Dunn that's still kicking after all these years. And, Dan and Shay that's been doing stuff for quite some time. And
Phillips, Craig and Dean, they've been around forever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Shane and Shane,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we definitely think that it's possible, and we definitely want it to be that, and then just from there, I think we'll see what life brings.
Yeah, I know we've talked about, like, we want to do this, like Caleb said, this is like kind of for the long haul for us. But it is an interesting thing to think about. Like, it would have to, I mean, we just recently had conversations about, like, because we were pursuing the solo careers for a while. And, now that God has blessed us and we're able to have this song that's doing well and we're out on the road together, it's hard to imagine, and this is going to sound so corny and cheesy, but it's truly hard to imagine doing all this just by yourself, after we've been able to do it with each other. And there's always, I mean, even in phone calls like this, it's like, I've got Caleb to bounce off of and he's got me to bounce off of. So it's I think it would have to be like God is calling us to do something, like do a solo thing or whatever. But
I agree.
Yeah.
And I will say we just played a gig the other day, and it was it's just the fun part about being in a duo is that so John forgot the first lyric for a song, and he's like, so bad. he said, "Hey," it's like, "Hey, I need to remember the lyric for this song." I said, "Don't worry about it, I'll solo." And I just started soloing. I was like, "All right, here we go," and I just started playing a solo on the guitar. And by the time I was done, he remembered the lyric, jumped right in.
So it was very natural too. It just worked out. Yeah.
It was great.
I heard
if we hadn't said something about it, they would have never known.
I heard somebody perform very recently where while they were performing the song, which I had never heard before in my life, and I don't think it was a big hit or anything like that, and they were performing the song, and they're not as educated or experienced, I guess, on stage when performing, and so when they were up there, they forgot the lyric or they forgot one of the lines, and they said it. Ooh. They said, sorry, I forgot that line. And my thought is just make it up. Nobody would know.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I have a friend of mine. We were growing up in church together, and he was a songwriter, and he wrote some songs, he performed them, and he always got me to sing backup. And like he's got a really good voice, and this was many years ago, and so he would teach me the songs and I would sing backup for him, and so we would be performing on stage, and get this, performing on stage, and he decides halfway through the song that he's forgotten the lyrics, so he starts making up words, and I'm trying to sing backup to that.
Oh, you say watermelon.
I'm telling you. So maybe just hum along or something. I don't know. It was just, and then he would just laugh afterwards. He says, "Oh, sorry about that."
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, but it's good you guys have, the ability for you both to jump in because you both have written a song together.
Yep.
Now, writing a song and then recording a song is different from actually performing a song.
Yeah.
So how do you recreate the sound, and also in recreating the sound, how do you rehearse the sets? Because there's a whole performance part of things too. It's different from being in a studio where you're hiding behind in a little studio with a mic and whatever else, versus now you're in front of a group of people and they expect more than just the strumming of a guitar or playing on the keys. They want a show. They want dancing around and
element.
Yeah.
No doubt.
So how did you guys figure that out for yourselves?
Man, I'll say I just our previous experience live really helped us. As being, the industry term is side guys, but it's really just musicians for other bands. Just doing that really helped us. I mean, because you understand the performance element of, you're right, they don't want to hear us strumming on the guitar. It's in a sense like what we're doing is worship, but it's also we're entertaining. We're entertaining for the good of the kingdom and for the glory of God, but we're entertaining. So, I think we've learned over our travels and our experiences of how to change things slightly to give it a bit more energy, and to create, really what it's about is creating moments, where it's like, hey, let's just hang in this moment for a second, where we as the performers, but also the audience as a whole, we're all feeling something and we're all experiencing something.
Right.
And we stay there for a minute, and then we move on to the next moment where we're all experiencing something different, So it's kind of a corralling of moments and exploring of different things. And so when you hear us live, you're not going to hear the song exactly how it was on the recording, how it is on the radio. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And sometimes that's a good thing, because you can actually hear the raw talent of, in this case for you guys, that you can actually sing and play an instrument, versus other artists that may not have that ability, or other artists that think they're good, but the studio has enhanced their voice. Did I say that
magic.
Politically correct?
Yes.
Know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah,
we know.
I've seen performances by people that their record is good, their songs are great, and then you see them on stage and you think to yourself, but can you actually sing? Like I thought you could,
Yep. Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
I guess you guys have been around the block when it comes to, performance and stuff. When you guys are opening for someone, are you using all your own material, or you're doing covers of other songs, or what?
Oh yeah. So we do, so depending on, we've opened, I guess, depending on what kind of show we're putting on. I think we try to keep it a bunch of our own stuff, but one of our songs, we mix it with a cover. So like the bridge is a cover of another song. So we definitely, the whole show, like Caleb said, it's more about the experience. It's definitely about the music, but it's more about the experience. So there's like a whole segment that we'll kind of, we introduce ourselves. We say like, oh, we're Caleb and John, but then we really get into, hey, we're Caleb and John, but before we were Caleb and John, we were, playing for other artists just as a part of their bands. And so, we tell like the whole story of, just us getting together and then us figuring out our own stuff. And then we'll play some songs that are our songs that they haven't heard, because most people have only heard the one Hallelujah Feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But so we'll play some of our own songs that most people haven't heard, but we'll also play some songs that people will know. So some covers, but a lot of our own stuff too.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's like when you're in church, if the worship leader's up there and it's all brand new songs, you're not going to get people jumping in and participating. But if you've got some recognizable songs, maybe introduce a new one, perhaps not right at the beginning. Start with something.
Exactly.
Like for you guys, you could obviously go on stage and start with Hallelujah Feeling, or that could be your last song, right? But you want to be able to have something that's recognizable by the audience so that they can participate and be a part of it.
That's when you break out the well-known worship stuff.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Yeah, we do sometimes. And really, I think John said it perfectly. It's really about telling a story. and it's about telling a story of who we are and how we came to be. And so, at least in our limited experience, like when you tell that story, people lean in and they listen. And then even if you play a song that they don't know and you kind of get there, they're like, well, I'm invested in who these people are, and I'm invested in what God has done in their lives. And so I want to hear this song that I don't know, because I want to hear what's next in this story.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. What's the next part in the story? I want to hear everything. Yeah, which is good. How long a set do you guys typically do?
Yeah, typically.
Well, we've been doing.
It's typically when we open. It would typically be about 20 to 25 minutes. But I mean, we've had other shows where it's just us playing, so we'll go 45 to an hour. But when we're opening, it's typically about 25 minutes.
Yep.
Right. And what about churches? You guys go into churches at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we've done a little bit of that. We haven't done much like guest worship leading yet. We'd like to do that in the future. I think we do have a couple things lined up for it next year. Next year. Yeah, we're still in 2023. Sorry,
talk about thinking ahead, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So no, we definitely we haven't done that a ton this year, but we'll definitely be doing it next year.
Well, it helps when you got one tour, ending before the next one starts, or if you've got time between recording sessions or whatever else to have something lined up. Because again, it's your career. You got to keep busy, otherwise you're twiddling your thumbs waiting for something to happen for you.
That's true. Yeah, definitely.
Where do you guys meet up to collaborate as far as writing and recording and stuff? You guys are close enough. Like, do you head to Nashville for that or what?
So when we started out, we were both. It was it's honestly, this is again like just a testament to how good God is and how He just made this whole thing work, because we were on different tours. Caleb was out with Sam. I was out with Katie. And we were writing by sending each other voice memos over like text and that kind of stuff. So that was just the fact that whole thing worked out was definitely a miracle. But these days we're typically either on the road together or we're in town. We can go, write in Nashville, or we can say, there's another. I don't know if you guys have heard of Franklin, Tennessee, but we'll go to Franklin, Tennessee sometime.
That's where everybody is.
Yes,
everybody.
We'll meet people down there and we'll hang out. So
like what most people, the average listener would think is when you talk about Nashville, maybe I'll go to Nashville and I'll see somebody, famous, a famous singer or whatever, that you've seen them in concert or whatever. You go to the coffee shop and just run into them. It doesn't happen in Nashville. It happens in Franklin.
Always in Franklin.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
And Aisha and I have talked about, going to the coffee shop in Franklin one of these days and just setting up shop with some microphones and just waiting for, famous artists and stuff just to drop by and we start chatting with them because that's going to happen, right?
So
that's true.
Funny story. Literally at a coffee shop in Franklin, we had like this. We were at this show. We were playing with, I think, was it Jason Gray and
Hope Darst? Yep.
Oh, yeah, Hope Darst. Oh my goodness, which they're just incredible. It was such an honor to be up there with them.
That was
the
at acoustic storytime thing they've been doing, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. And so we were playing with them, and we got done with the show, and we were talking to people, and I met this guy, and he came up and he was like, "Oh, like, love your music." And so we got into a great conversation, and in the middle of it, I was like, I'm 90% sure I know this guy. And so I asked him, I was like, "Do I know you?" And he said, "No, I don't think we've met before." And so we continued the conversation. And I ended up asking him, "What do you do for a living?" And he said, "I'm a voice actor for cartoons." It turns out, so I'm a massive Star Wars fan. And there's this cartoon named Star Wars: The Clone Wars. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi from this TV show that I grew up watching.
Story, brother. That's a great
blew
story.
my mind. It was the craziest thing.
So did you recognize his voice after a while?
Yes, I did. That's how I
That's funny.
recognized it. It was wild.
That's wild. Well,
Anyways,
much
yes.
fun.
you can meet anybody in Franklin, I'll tell you that. So now everybody's going to flock to Franklin and go to, all the different coffee shops and just hang out all day just to see who they can meet.
Oh, yeah.
Nanu.
Uh-huh.
Guys, thanks so much for hanging with us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Thank you so much
It
for
will
having us.
catch you guys on the road sometime.
Yes,
Please.
definitely.
And in Toronto.
next
In
time we're
Toronto
up
when
in-
you guys are coming.
Yep. Up in Toronto or down in Florida. We'll hit y'all up.
Perfect.
That's right.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All right. God bless
Thank
you.
you
You too.
guys.
You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
That was a great episode, great conversation with those guys. They seem like a lot of fun to be around, and I'd love to get to one of their shows and see this collaboration.
Yeah, it sounds like
In
a
the
lot of fun.
works.
These guys, I mean, it'd be interesting to see the chemistry on stage together.
Well, check out their website, calebandjohn.com. It's a little bit of a tongue twister, but you have to say it slowly. calebandjohn.com.
I just jumped on their site right now, and they got this cool album thing, and they've got a vinyl record spinning on the screen. It looks really neat.
Nice.
Okay, well, we got to go in a second, but before we do, some quick artist advice from Ryan Dahl from Praise Charts.
Be inspired by other musicians, but don't just mimic them. So find your own voice, know your own audience, know your people, and then find a way to be original to them. While at the same time, you could be singing other people's songs, but ultimately, whatever song you sing, you want to sing it like it's your own. Sing it like you wrote it. Sing it like you are personally invested into it. I think we live in an age of worship music now where it's too easy to just mimic, to become like karaoke worship leaders. And I just want to encourage people to know you have a voice, a personality, a human, connection that you want to make to your people. And I hope you're still encouraged to express that.
Oh, that's so good. Golly, that's so good. Just embrace your individuality. It's so important.
Yeah, I think sometimes people think about the singing competitions that you see on TV, and you hear a person take a song that everyone knows and they sing the song, and sometimes these singers, these wannabe artists will just mimic what the original artist sounded like. And it sounds great, don't get me wrong, but it's not them.
Sure.
And you got to
Right.
kind of take it, and you've heard the judges very often say you have to make it your own. Well,
That's right.
that's exactly what Ryan is saying here.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's episode. Why don't you catch us on the next one? And we're looking forward to it. I know it's going to be great.
Thanks for listening to Faith Strong Today's Between the Grooves podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, would you consider sharing it with your friends, rating our podcast, or giving us some love on your socials to your amazing friends and followers will only help us reach more people. We'd also love to hear from you and share your feedback in an upcoming episode. Send your video or written message to Aisha and James on Facebook or X @Between Grooves and on Instagram @Between Grooves Pod. Or email us anytime, hello@faithstrongtoday.com.